Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back. I am, as always, the Ohio Patriot, and you are watching the Ohio Patriot Education Network channel. For today's episode, we're going to talk about a bunch of different topics relating to Ohio, specifically why Tim Ryan must be disqualified from the U.S. Senate race at this point, as well as a few other related things like that. We're also going to discuss a couple other topics for the day, up to and including different things relating to uh, the state of Ohio, and then of course international stuff and whatnot. So basically, the first things first on this for today. For those that haven't heard, the railway strike that I was talking about in the episode this morning, apparently, thankfully, did not come to fruition, or at least not yet anyway, because they have reached a quote unquote tentative deal at like basically the 11th hour is what it was. And yeah, so far we're not going to see any like, massive uh, issues where you're going to have basically railway strikes and shutdowns, lockdowns, whatever you want to say it. Um, and the crazy part of it is, when you look at what's happening to our country and what has happened to our country for years now, there is a lot of crazy shit, man. When you have, specifically the fucking crazy inflation numbers and stuff like that under Biden's dumbass and company, and it's 100% to do with what the hell's happening right now. Like, yeah, it's not a good thing, man. It really, really ain't, honestly. And the big thing is, when you're actually doing different, crazy shit or whatever, and you have people who don't understand the point of different things to where you can't actually get things done because you're like, creating crazy inflation by, printing money like it's going on style and stuff like that. There's a huge issue there, is what it is. And that's the thing. When you look at pieces of shit like Tim Ryan, this motherfucker has voted with the Democrat Party 100% of the fucking time on this kind of crap, dude. He's put trillions of fucking dollars into our national debt. And when I say trillions, I mean like tens of trillions at this point, dude. And yet somehow he's still a sitting congressman and trying to run for the US Senate. And it's like, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. And then when you wake up and you realize, like, oh yeah, this dude's been, fucking around and fucking off the whole time and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, then it tends to make a lot more sense after that. And you're like, why the fuck is this dude not in prison right now, honestly, dude? And I would say that for the entire Democrat Party, honestly. Like, why aren't they all fucking facing massive prison time right now, dude? And the same thing with a bunch of the rhinos and shit, too. Because it's like, dude, honestly, when you look at these fucking people and like what they've done to this country already, it's like, again, how the fuck are you still sitting in power? Kind of thing. Like it's totally fucking nuts, man. It really is. It just blows me away, honestly. And it goes back to the period in time in history where it's like most of these people, if something were to be, how am I trying to put this now? If we were to be in a different time period in history, most of these fucking people would have already been dealt with accordingly. I'm gonna say it like that. And take it for what you will, whether it be prison time or whatever the case be. That's what I take it as right now, honestly. It would be like lifetime imprisonment for all of them, honestly, and stuff like that. Just to be clear, I'm not justifying violence or anything like that in this situation. The entire point I'm trying to make is none of them are facing these charges because of the fact that we're not holding their fucking feet to the fire. And that's a big thing with the state of Ohio here. You look back at what we've seen in the past few years now here in the state of Ohio, and you start looking into different things here and stuff like that, and then you realize like, oh, nobody ever held these politicians' feet to the fucking fire is what it was before this, and it's why they were fucking off and not doing their jobs and stuff like that. And then it was finally in the past couple of years now we finally started holding their damn feet to the fire, and because we were holding their feet to the fire like that, you actually had them, finally get off their lazy asses and actually start doing stuff with what it was, dude. And that's awesome. That's how it should be anyway. And the problem is with any of that is when you're not, again, when you're not actually holding them to account and stuff like that for different things that they've done, this is what leads to massive corruption at a state level. This is what leads to, you know, the feds literally saying Ohio is the most corrupt state possible in the union, basically, at this point, or at least one of the top ones anyway. And it's like, then you wonder why, and it's like, that's why, dude. It's because you have fucking mass corruption at every level is what it is, dude. And the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and say like every single person in the entire General Assembly is corrupt as fuck. But yeah, there's a lot that are. And that's the problem right now. And it's both major parties, honestly, dude. And this goes back to something I've mentioned before when it comes to things. And this is why I would love to see something happen where you actually have like both Democrats and Republicans, be told to fuck off as establishment and shit like that at this point. And then we, the people, basically just create like 50 to 100 new political parties, is what it is, dude. Or even just start recognizing some of the lower ones that already exist out there, is what it is. Because that would be just as good, I think, honestly. And the problem right now is that when we're not doing that, then you wonder why people are like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, what the hell's going on here, kind of thing. And yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit, dude, is what it is. It's people that don't care, that don't want to care, that would rather just sit around and, do nothing and watch the world burn, I guess is what I would say best right now. And it's unfortunate because, again, all that leads to is just more, corruption and more corruption and more corruption. And it's just like, at what point does the pillar break, basically, is what it is, dude. At what point do we, the people, call on each other to basically hold these criminal politicians to account, And I think that time is coming. I really do think it is coming, dude. I think you're seeing a lot of people get real pissed right now, and justifiably so. When you have, you know, us being used as pawns for decades for these ass clowns to be getting back into office continuously over and over and over again, and then they don't respect us as the actual constituents, as their bosses and stuff like that, that's a huge fucking problem right there, man. It's a huge fucking problem. And I think people are finally starting to wake up to that right now, that we actually have the power to make real change is what it is, man. And we should be making real change. It's ridiculous that we're sitting back and not doing a damn thing to, deal with the corruption, deal with the fuckery of our country right now, dude. And I think the more and more people that wake up to it, the more and more people that discuss it, the faster it's going to get, something to actually be like a grassroots movement to stop it, then, if that be the case, But anyway, so we're going to talk about a lot of different stories today, and we're also going to discuss the Constitution as well in this episode. But first and foremost, we are going to start with Tim Ryan's latest bullshit lies for this episode, which are, let's see if I can grab this article real quick here. Tim Ryan falsely claims his order to, quote, kill and confront MAGA movement was about January 6th. What a fucking cocksucking piece of shit fucking cunt, dude. Like, this asshole right here, who has been in office for over 20 fucking years now, dude, is everything wrong with this country right now in a nutshell, dude. This dude's basically been in power since, like, 9/11, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, bro, at what point do we, the fucking people, be like, nah, fuck you, Tim Ryan, get the fuck out of here, bitch? And I feel like, again, that point is coming right now, dude. Like, very, very quickly. And, when that time comes, hopefully it'll be this election cycle, honestly. And that's exactly why I'm calling the General Assembly today, honestly, to remove this fucking cocksucker from office at this point, dude. Or not from office, but from the U.S. Senate race is what it is, dude. Because, again, he has no fucking right to be in the Senate race when he's literally calling for political violence against the right side of history at this point, dude. Like, this dude has no fucking legal claim to be in any position of power right now, based on that alone. And the fact that he is still in office right now is absolute ridiculousness, dude. It is a fucking joke. It is a slap in the face to our constitutional republic. And it basically shows what the fuck the Democrat Party is in a nutshell, dude. And what's even worse is, I'm gonna point out some other stuff with Democrats today. So not only did you have dickhead Tim Ryan fucking falsely claiming that shit, I'm gonna go back to the article too, by the way, in a little bit here, but I want to talk about these ones as well. So you got that worthless fucking cunt Mazi Harino, the bitch out of Hawaii, who, mind you, she was the one that claimed, like, oh, Antifa doesn't exist, it's just an idea or whatever. Or maybe it was Jerry Nadler said, I'm not sure. I think it was both of them actually at some point in the past that they've said stupid shit like that's what it is, dude. But what's funny though is that you had Ted Cruz, a couple months back, like a year ago, whatever it was now. There was a video that popped out where it was Ted Cruz basically showing verbatim like Mazzy Harino. And you had you had what was I saying now? Yeah, you had him basically showing a video of Antifa terrorism and BLM terrorism, stuff like that during 2020 riots. And you had Harino basically grab her purse and head out to lunch, basically, is what it was that day. And it's like, again, why is she still a sitting senator right now, dude? Especially after this shit. Democrat Senator Mazzy Harino issues, quote, call to arms when debating abortion ban. Said Democrat extremism in the wake of President Biden's dark MAGA speech heated up some more on Wednesday when Senator Mazzy Harino issued a call to arms on the Senate floor while debating the national abortion ban. Said, quote, when I hear my colleagues talking about how, it should be states' rights or government should not be telling us what to do, the word hypocrites, it doesn't even go far enough to call them out on what they're doing. You mean how you're a fucking hypocrite, cunt lady? Go fuck yourself, bitch. Anyway, we're also going to read the article there in the corner that talks about how Biden is now silent after Tim Ryan's kill and confront comment. But anyway, where are we now? Okay, yeah. Karina continued on and said, this is an outright attack on women in the country. That is how I see it, and that is how more and more women and those who support our right to make decisions about our own bodies. Well, first of all, it's not your body, you dumb fucking cunt. And secondly, Mazzy Harino, you're not even fucking able to have children anymore, lady. You're post-menopausal already. Goddamn, dude. It's fucking insane, dude. It really is. And like I said, the first thing on that whole thing is you don't actually have a legal right to anything because it's not your body. It's literally another human being growing inside of you. You are literally just an incubator for it, lady. That was when you were able to have children. That's when any woman is able to have children. It's the womb where the child is carried. It's why the child has a different blood type than you. It's why that child has different things than you, dude. It's why there's a second heartbeat when they do the fucking tests and shit, dude. Anyway, let's see here now. Where the fuck is that now? Yeah, she claimed their bodies. That is how we see it. Why? Because that is what's happening. Harino concluded her speech by saying the proposed abortion ban at 15 weeks is literally a call to arms in this country. Harino's rhetoric follows statements from Democrat Ohio Senate candidate Tim Ryan, who said his party needs to kill and confront an extremist Republican movement. This, like, I swear to God, dude, these people, the only reason that they're doing this shit right now is because they're actually trying to call for basically civil war before the fucking midterms, because that's the only way they can maintain power, dude. Because then they'll just be like, aha, October surprise, now we're gonna fucking declare martial law, haha, midterms election suspended entirely, haha, we still get into power anyway, kind of thing is what it is, dude. And the big difference there is that it wouldn't be dipshit Tim Ryan actually being in the US Senate now. It would just be him getting back into regular office is what it is there. But that's the entire point, though. It's these people are just fucking psychotic nuts, dude, is what it is. They're complete lunatics is what it ends up being, dude. So, anyway, let's see. Yeah, and then we got, they mentioned Tim Ryan's whole thing about confront and kill people and stuff like that. The guy's a fucking nut job, dude. It's both statements follow Biden's infamous dark MAGA speech in which he portrayed MAGA Republicans as violent right-wingers who disrespect the Constitution and seek to strip Americans of their most basic rights, except for the fact the Democrat Party is literally doing that. These people are the biggest hypocrite fucking douchebags, dude. They are trying to basically claim everything that they're actually doing that the other side is doing, and I'm fucking sick and tired of it, dude. I think everybody else is at this point too, honestly. I hope they are, honestly. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. So, anyway. Since we're here, actually, we're going to go to the other article there of Biden stuff. I don't know if this will pop up or not during this. Hopefully it will. Okay, it did. Yeah, you got Biden silent after Tim Ryan called to kill and confront movement to make America great again. Fucking disgusting, dude. So Biden remained silent after Democrat Senate candidate Tim Ryan of Ohio called for Americans to kill and confront supporters of former President Donald Trump and his MAGA political movement. I'd like to point something out, by the way. Tim Ryan called for this in a state that literally has constitutional carry and stand your ground, dude. You want to fucking kill and confront me, bro? Be prepared to take a shitload of fucking lead to the body, asshole. And it's going to be like that for a bunch of Americans right now, dude. Like, we're not going to put up with that shit, dude. You want to fucking confront and attack us, dude? Like, go fuck yourself, bro. Like, seriously, Tim Ryan's fucking rhetoric alone, bro, should have already seen him arrested for fucking attempted mass genocide at this point. It's fucking insane. And like I said before, dude, I got a fucking federal swatting 3 years ago for less than what Tim Ryan said in the last couple fucking days. And yet this fucking ass clown is not only still in office in Congress, he's fucking still running for the U.S. Senate right now. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Anyway, and then talked about Tim Ryan's fucking bullshit rhetoric there. It said Biden, a frequent critic of political figures using dangerous rhetoric used to incite violence, has not addressed Tim Ryan's comments. White House did not respond to multiple requests for comment from Breitbart News. And newly depressed secretary who did not address it during press briefing on Tuesday. Orwell asked taking questions from reporters on Air Force One during the Detroit trip that Biden took. Yeah, it's fucking nuts, dude. It really is. Yeah, and then they got another thing here. It's talking about Biden calls MAGA Republicans violent, extreme, dangerous, while ignoring leftist violence. Exactly. And that's the thing, dude. They always ignore their own side. And by the way, I'd like to point something out. Kamala Harris literally bail funded Antifa and BLM 2 years ago, dude. How is she a sitting fucking vice president right now, dude? It's insane. It's fucking nuts, dude. It's like it really is like, it's just pure gaslighting is what it is right now, dude. These people are doing everything that they possibly can to fuck with us so that we'll go back. So that they basically are trying, I believe what they're trying to do, honestly, at this point, legitimately, they're actually trying to get Americans to basically incite violence against them by inciting violence against Americans, is what it is. So they're trying to be all like, oh, but it wasn't us calling for violence, except it fucking was all the time, dude. And that's the entire point. But yet they're going to sit there and be all like, oh, no, but it totally wasn't us. It was these people over here. It was these MAGA Republicans. It was these fucking da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, it was your fucking dumbasses doing the shit for a long ass time now, dude. And it's like, Jesus criminy, man, you know? It really is just fucking nuts. It's just crazy people. The inmates literally running the fucking asylum is what it is right now, dude. And I mean that legitimately. That's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at a bunch of psychotic lunatics. Inmates running the fucking asylum into the ground. And want to sit there and basically shit talk Americans every chance that they get while doing anything viable to actually make this country a better place, you know? And that's the problem right now. And it blows me away. It really does. It just blows my mind, dude. And then, of course, you got, where is that right now? You got fuckstick Hank Johnson, you know, the same Hank Johnson that, what was it, like 10, 15 years ago, said that Guam was going to tip over if there's too many people on it. Seriously, how does Georgia keep electing this jackass? Like, dude, this guy's got like 4 or 5 terms since then. Like, what the fuck is going on with our country, dude? It's just nuts. It's just nuts, man. I believe truthfully there are like some people that just don't have voting rights anymore is what it is, dude. But yeah, you had Hank Johnson says parents at school board meetings were just like January 6th, mega coordinated attack. Fuck you, you lying piece of shit, dude. Anyway, it says Democrat Representative Hank Johnson from Georgia called parents at school board meetings mega Republicans and compared them to those who entered the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Oh, you mean the people that were literally let into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, dude, that you can see multiple videos of? That has been proven that to be a thing now? Yeah, you mean those people, jackass? Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah, Hank Johnson is a fucking clown, dude. He really is. He is like one of the biggest ass clowns ever, dude. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying earlier, though, it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. Yeah, it said, going to quote his stupid shit here, it said, January 6, 2021 will never be forgotten. An infamous day in American history. Mega Republicans descended upon the Capitol, engaged in an insurrection, except that wasn't the case at all, you dickhead. Not only was there no insurrection, it was a bunch of Antifa and BLM dressed up as fucking Republican people and MAGA hats and shit like that, dude, that were doing most of the violence to begin with there. And that can be proven as well now. And most of the people that got arrested there have been falsely charged. And by the way, there's a little thing in our Constitution called right to due process that has now been extended for over a year and a half now, dude. Almost going on 2 years now, actually, with most of these people who have been arrested and have never gotten a jury trial, never have gotten any trial at all, that for that matter, and are being detained as political prisoners in this country right now. And let's see what is it here now. Yeah, Johnson was claiming all this stuff at a House Judiciary Committee meeting on Wednesday. He claimed they occupied the Capitol. 5 people were killed. That's a lie, by the way. 1 person was killed. Her name was Ashley Babbitt, and she was murdered by fucking Capitol Hill cops that specifically worked for that piece of shit Chuck Schumer, the same Capitol Hill cop that actually left his gun in a fucking bathroom before that, dude. And the other people that died after the fact were mysteriously just like found dead, basically, is what it was, dude. Because again, you want to talk about cover-ups there, you want to talk about, quote unquote conspiracy theories, like, yeah, they shut people's mouths permanently, dude, Clinton style. Anyway, then claimed hundreds were injured. Again, not the case. Including hundreds of Capitol Hill police officers attacked and bludgeoned. Again, lies. It was a day that will never be forgotten. You mean like 9/11? How you assholes like to compare this to fucking 9/11? Because that's the thing, right? These pieces of shit like Hank Johnson, they're a bunch of fucking pussies, dude. They were the scared fucking coward ass bitch fucking cunts that were sitting there hiding underneath their fucking chairs, being all like, oh my god, the MAGA Republicans are coming, oh my god. And then you had other assholes who were literally grabbing guns and trying to stop people. All this was happening while the certification of bullshit was going on, dude. So, anyway. It said during 2020-2021 school year, parents across the country protested school board meetings primarily over strict corona lockdowns and critical race theory, as well as other leftist indoctrination shit, being introduced in children's classrooms. And that's the one thing that, like, seriously, the only good thing that came out of 2020 was that people finally realized that CRT and other leftist indoctrination shit was being taught in schools, dude. I already knew that stuff was going on for years now. I just didn't have the actual proof of it until 2020 is what it was, dude. So, but yeah, it's just disgusting is what it is. And it just pisses me off, dude. Anyway, it said Johnson went on to compare parents who protested school board meetings. By the way, a lot of those same parents are now school board members because they won primaries against these scumbags that were on the school boards before that, dude. But yeah, idiot Frank Johnson compared parents who protested school board meetings to Capitol Hill rioters by quoting, and people at the local level at affected school board meetings, they won't forget the MAGA Republicans ascending on their school board meetings after January 6th, like January 6th disrupting meetings, Johnson said. It was a, quote, coordinated attack happening across the country. Americans won't forget about it. Go fuck. Like, I love how he says Americans. What he really means is Democrat Party, hardline, leftist dick suckers is what he's really talking about on that one, dude. And yes, they've already forgotten about it, you fucking ass clown. Anyway, let's see. Is it Johnson also referenced an October letter by National School Board Association sent by the administration demanding federal law enforcement help for the protesting parents who they viewed as quote-unquote domestic terrorists. That alone, by the way, should have kicked out the people that were part of that National School Board Association. So, and that's pretty much it, though, is this fucking clown. But yeah, of course, you got the fucking dumbass Hank Johnson with an expand the court fucking hearing he was doing with some other idiots there. I think that, I believe the black dude there in the suit or the other, I shouldn't say the black dude. There's two black dudes. Obviously, Hank Johnson's the moron in the pink tie in front of the expand the court pulpit there. The other black guy in the suit with the red tie, though, I believe that guy is one of the guys that was part of the squad or one of the New York representatives or something like that for Congress is what it is. And then I'm not sure who this other dude is. I was gonna say Ted Lieu, but I don't think that's who that is. I think it's somebody else entirely. It might actually say it right there on the thing. Let's see. Yeah, it says Hank Johnson speaks at the Expand the Court press conference, U.S. Capitol, July 18, 2022. Supreme Court decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Center overturning the landmark 50-year Roe versus Wade case. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't say who anybody else is. I can only assume that well, I know for a fact that Hank Johnson's a rep. I know this dude right here is a rep, and then I'm pretty sure that the Asian guy is also a rep. And I'm not sure if those two women behind them are also Congress people or not right now. So they might be like aides or something. But anyway, yeah, it's a bunch of crap either way, man. So, all right, where the fuck are we at now? Yeah, we got Democrats freak out over Ron DeSantis flying illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard, claiming it's evil and inhumane. Says the people who are literally allowing our fucking border to be destroyed every fucking day of our lives, dude, right now. I am getting real sick of that shit too, by the way. Like, there is never a fucking reason for anything to be happening the way it's happening in our country right now, dude. That there was literally no reason for our border to be fucked with, for our country to be destroyed from within, etc., unless it's all by design. And I think that's how it is right now, dude. And it's fucking disgusting. So, anyway. Got a couple more we're going to talk about here. We're going to go back to that Tim Ryan article and read that whole thing then after the fact. I do want to talk about this one, though, which I thought was pretty funny, which is, let me see here. Gotta do our screen share here on this. You got Chuck Schumer says 40% chance Democrats will keep House majority, contradicts Nancy Pelosi. It said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer reportedly believes Nancy Pelosi has only a 40% chance of winning the House majority in November. It's way less than that, motherfucker. It's about 10% chance at this point, maybe even less than that. Contradicting Speaker Pelosi's claim that she will actually gain seats. Yeah, none of that shit's gonna happen, dude. You like, this is the thing, right? You already have like, I think it's like 20 or 30 different Democrats who've admitted that they're gonna give up election cycle or giving up their seats in the election cycle, whether it be to run for U.S. Senate seats or whether it be because they're like, oh yeah, shit, my district is now like sort of like a mix between like hard red and hard, what was I gonna say? It's like a toss-up district essentially, and then because of that, they're like, oh fuck, we can't win election now, kind of thing is what it is, and it's like that's the thing, dude. They understand that like they have a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning now, and when they understand that whole thing, that's when they just are like, oh, nope, can't do that no more, or whatever the case be. And that's why you've had so many of them distance themselves from Biden and company, because they understand that like they don't have a whole chance of actually winning right now is what it is, dude. It's the exact reason why Tim Ryan has tried to distance himself from Biden for months now, because he knows that Biden is a fucking cancer is what it is, dude. And his whole, rhetoric and stuff like that is just insane. But the thing is, the fucked up All right, hopefully I'm back. Yeah, as I was saying though, my internet just sort of cut out there for some reason. But yeah, as I was saying though, Biden really opened up the floodgates for these people, dude. Like, he basically gave that insane psychotic speech that, if you look at the actual layout of that speech, dude, was 100% V for Vendetta. And then they want to sit there and be all like, oh, but we're totally not calling for political violence. Har, 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 har. It's like, yes, you are. Like, that's the entire point, dude. Like, we're all seeing through your fucking bullshit a bunch of times, dude. And we're not putting up with it any longer. You know? It's just fucking insane to me, man. That you have these people that are just like totally fucking psychotic lunatics. And they just don't get it, man. They don't get it. They don't want to understand it. They just want to be a bunch of fucking nuts, is what it is, man. And that's fine. If you want to be a bunch of fucking nuts, man, like, you go be a bunch of fucking nuts. But don't be surprised when American citizens call you out on your bullshit, dude. You know? This is my thing entirely, dude. Is like, I've seen what this country can be, and I've seen how great this country can be, and I've seen how awful this country can be to certain things and certain times and certain people and stuff like that. And when you have people who have exploited this fucking nation for every possible thing that they can, for every possible, personal gain that they can, et cetera, it gets real old real quick, man. And that's the thing. When you have Biden and company coming out here and being all like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing or this thing or this thing or whatever the case be, it's like, yeah, dude, that shit gets real old real quick when you guys are some of the most corrupt fucks ever in our country. And you want to sit there and act like, oh my god, but we have the fucking ability to do whatever here. And it's like, no, you actually don't, dude. No, you actually don't. And that's the entire point, dude. But yeah, as I said here, continuing on with that article though, that I can't bring up because I'm afraid that it's going to knock my my internet down again. That we were reading about Chuck Schumer there, it said, speaking Monday night in a restaurant with multiple Democrat senators, Schumer estimated Pelosi's House majority is in trouble and gave her only a 40% chance of retaining the chamber. Again, like I said, that's really giving it a bunch, dude, because it's about more like 5 to 10% at this point, honestly. Uh, let's see. It said Democrat senators at dinner were Senators Chris Coons and bad old Mark Kelly, who's probably going to hopefully lose re-election there. He shouldn't even, like, first of all, Mark Kelly's bitch ass shouldn't even fucking be allowed to run for office to begin with there for the U.S. Senate, dude, because he literally has ties to anti-gunner, his wife, Gabby Giffords, dude. And it's like, how is that not a conflict of interest, number one? Number two, when the guy literally tried to commit a fucking straw purchase like 10 years ago, again, how the fuck is he not in jail right now for that, number one? And number two, why are we allowing this to go on again? Kind of thing, like, seriously, bro. It's just fucking nuts. It really is. It's fucking, it's crazy town. It's crazy town is what it is, man. And okay, never mind. I was looking at some stuff here and people stole my shit is what it was. Yeah, I'm doing two things at once here. I'm trying to play a game and I'm also talking. So yeah, I'm literally trying to make sure I maintain my lead for the next hour and a half right now. I'm in fifth right now, so I don't think there's a chance people can get ahead of me right now on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the top 10 thing instead, I think, on this. Since I have the ability to do so, make sure it's still there actually before I get rid of this one. Yes, it is. Okay. So drop a top 20. But motherfucker. Of course, as soon as I do that, some other asshole just took my top 10. Fucking dicks. I'd love to know who that was that just jacked my top 10 on that. Whoa. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it was. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, it was literally the other chick that's top 10 right now. So that sucks. Yeah, it's whatever, man. Whatever. I'll just grab my top 20 again, which I already did now. So, and that's fine. The only thing that sucks about the difference between top 10 and top 20 of this game is that you actually have like a 150 point difference And then the top 10 is like this one right here. The top 21 is 140. They're rubies that they give you, whereas top 10 is let's see, where's the top 10 people now? I know I just saw one a minute ago. Yeah, top 10 is I think 500. Yeah, it's 500 points and 200 rubies then. So there is like a 60-point difference there. Like I said, though, I don't know if I'll actually maintain my lead or not, but it's whatever. I'll keep it, though, for the time being. One thing that they did this morning, actually, when they did maintenance and stuff, they fucked over everybody when it came to stuff, so. But yeah, I'm at 9.1 mil right now, and got an hour and a half left. There could be a bunch of people coming here and fuck me out of 20, though, if that'd be the case, though, so. That's why I'm kind of like, hesitant to even do anything then. But anyway, going back to what we're talking about politically, though, after I, jump off of this right now, because I'm doing a couple different things at once right here. We're going to talk about Ohio again for a minute now with, first of all, piece of shit Tim Ryan, and then we're going to discuss some other things here. Actually, we're going to finish, nothing, but we're going to finish that article, though, before we're doing stuff with Schumer there and stuff. So, yeah, so I mentioned Mark Kelly's ass. I shouldn't be in office right now. And then you had apparently Chris Von Hollen there, who is Maryland senator. You got Tom Carper, who is Delaware, and embattled John Hickenlooper, or Hickenlooper. Mind you, Hickenlooper, I didn't realize Hickenlooper was a senator right now, dude. That motherfucker, though, by the way, for those interested, is a Bilderberg puppet. He was literally at the Bilderberg group, dude. Again, how is John Hickenlooper in the U.S. Senate right now? He should be in prison for the rest of his life, dude, at minimum. And then you had Dickless Dick Durbin as the last guy there at that fucking thing with Schumer. Said Schumer also told the group he thinks Democrats have a 60% chance of holding the Senate with about 50 days to go before midterm elections. Yeah, no, you're not, dude. You're going to get your asses stomped in the fucking midterms is what it's going to be, dude. And you're going to lose a shitload of seats is what it is there. Let's see, it said he also claimed raising concerns about Kelly's Senate re-election bid against Trump-endorsed Blake Masters. Blake Masters will beat Mark Kelly in that no matter what, dude. Like, that's almost a given that he's going to be flipping that seat red. Let's see, it said majority leader apparently believes the race could be bust wide open if mega billionaire donor Peter Thiel writes more checks to expose Democrat policies in the state. For those interested, it's interesting. I didn't realize that Peter Thiel is now a Republican mega donor because, interesting fact about Peter Thiel, two things actually. He is J.D. Vance's mentor. He is also a known member of Bilderberg, at least the lower rung of Bilderberg and stuff like that, which, my thing with Bilderberg is I think there's actually like two Bilderbergs right now where you have like the lower rung, like the kids' table kind of stuff where Peter Thiel sits at that don't really know a whole lot of shit or whatever. And that's why people like Trump are friends with them and shit. And then you have people like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Soros, the royal family, et cetera, who are at the, adult table discussing their creepy shit, dude. If you guys have never watched the movie, the TV series Dope Sick, you should, because it basically shows this family. It's the family that's behind the creating of Oxycontin and stuff like that, dude. And how they basically were sitting around a table being like, well, we can make all this kind of money doing a bunch of fucking drug stuff, dude. And I feel like that's exactly what it is when it comes to the people that make up Bilderberg and stuff like that, dude, is it's these people that will sit around and, fuck around basically and be doing all kinds of crazy shit to, basically embed themselves in just some shady ass shit is what it is, dude. And it's really fucking disgusting is what it is, dude. Huh. The one guy from my region just jumped up to first right now with like an hour and a half to go. So, damn, man. I don't know how many things that dude was doing, but he did 22 million worth. I know mine was like 9 million, and that was I'm trying to think how many long ranges I did then. It would have been like 40, I think, to get there, and like a whole bunch of short ranges and stuff too. So like I must have done like about 100 then, if that be the case. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and extend my lead right now that I can. Do a couple of 10 grabs and stuff right now and stuff. So see, 30. Let's do 40, I guess. So still have one in a few minutes too as well. See how much that up my time right now on that. All right, I went from 1.9 to 1.7. I'm still in sixth place though. So that being said, the person that's in seventh only has 8 million. So I don't think that's really going to change much. But yeah. So anyway, the entire point I'm trying to make though is when it comes to people like Chuck Schumer and company, they're a bunch of scumbags, dude. And going back to that article though, yeah, he was talking about Peter Thiel exposing more Democrat policies as Senator Mitch McConnell backed Super PAC canceled about $8 million in ad spending in Arizona over the summer, and then suggested Senator Rick Scott, chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee, should spend his private resources to make up some of the differences. And again, right there, dude. People wonder why I hate Mitch McConnell so much, dude. It's like, okay, you have a fucking super PAC, dude. Spend your $8 million, motherfucker. Oh no, we're not going to do that because if we do that, that means we don't have the money no mores. It's like, go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously. Like, that dude really is a fucking scumbag, dude. For real. Like, he really is the turtle everybody always calls him out on, dude. And it is really disgusting to watch people like Chuck Schumer be in any position of power in this country, honestly, in any facet of anything, because they're just scumbags, dude, is what it is. They are complete sacks of shit who don't give two shits about this country. The same thing with Chuck Schumer types, etc., dude. Like, none of them care about us. They only care about themselves. They only care about making a bunch of fucking money off of our backs, off our sweat, off our labor, etc. And then when we call them out and stuff on it, they're like, no, that's totally not the case, bro. And it's like, yeah, that totally is the case, bro. Go fuck yourself. Like, seriously. And yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, man, but I personally am just getting really, really sick and tired of it. Because it's these people that just don't care. They just don't care. They're doing insider trading on a regular basis. And it's time to just red pill the fuck out of people, dude. And get things done. But also, that being said, I'm pretty sure Rick Scott was the previous governor of Florida. Rick Scott is also a scumbag sack of shit. If that's who I'm thinking it was that was governor before DeSantis, that was the motherfucker who signed in the unconstitutional red flag law legislation in Florida there that has now fucked over thousands of people in the process. So, anyway. It said, well, the battle for the Senate rages. Pelosi and Democrat House leadership were ridiculed yesterday for claiming that Democrats will not be going to keep the House majority, but actually picking up seats. Many indicators suggest Pelosi and the radical Democrats will likely lose the House, including polls, midterm history, soaring inflation, and Biden's dumbass approval rating. Said for months on end, Republicans have been leading in midterm generic ballot polling. So basically, you could have something where it's like, insert random red candidate here. That person's going to beat a Democrat by like plus 10. You know, it's like I said last night in that 4-hour thing where I was discussing pieces of shit like Cortez and stuff like that, dude. And you have her in a district that is like plus 30 Democrats, basically, dude. And that's the only way that she continues to maintain power there in that state, dude, at all, is because of the fact she has that crazy ass, like, majority power broking kind of shit there is what it is, dude. Whereas meanwhile, if she didn't have that ability, she would be gone. She would be out of office. She would be done. And she would basically be working as a bartender again, is what it is, dude. But because she has not done these things, or I should say because she was basically sucking the Young Turks' dick to get into office there, that's why she's a sitting congresswoman to this day, man. And it's fucking ridiculous. And it's like, why? Why is she still sitting in office, dude? Seriously. It's just insane. But anyway, continuing back on with that article there. Let's see. It said, for months, the Republican Party has been leading generic ballot polling, though polls are often wrong. That is true, by the way. And I've said before, dude, when it comes to, this is why I don't believe polls ever in this country, is because when you look at most polls, for political polling, you basically have, when you actually look at how many people were responding to them and stuff, it's like a couple hundred to a couple thousand, maybe at most, depending on where the poll was done and how many people were polled for it and stuff like that. And most of the time, what you end up having is a situation where people really don't give a fuck about certain things, dude. And would rather just be like, yeah, I just want to be left alone kind of thing is what it is, dude. And I think that's where most Americans fall into right now, dude. It's like, that's why you have a lot of people who don't even vote in this country, because they want to sit there and be like, oh, but, you know, I don't really have any power to do anything. And it's like, except you do. And that's the point, dude. Like, you have the power to, like, if, as long as you're an American citizen who can legally vote because you're not a convicted felon and stuff like that, you should be out there voting. You should be out there exercising your constitutionally protected right to vote, is what it is, dude. And then these are the same people, after Trump, you know, got elected there in 2017, that were all like, oh, or since they got like 2016 and took office in 2017, we're all like, oh, but this is fucking bullshit. We shouldn't have he shouldn't be fucking president. Not my president, all that crap like that and stuff like that, dude. And it's like, okay, so who'd you vote for in the actual election cycle? Oh, I didn't vote. Then you have no fucking reason to complain, people. Go fuck yourself. And that's the entire point of the whole fucking thing, is you have these idiot fucking ass clowns, dude, that are all like, oh, but I didn't vote at all. And it's like, well, then you have no reason to bitch and moan about stuff, dude. You just want to bitch and moan is what it is. And it's like, again, that's on you for not fucking doing your job as a American citizen that has the right to vote in this country and refusing to actually vote is what it is. Now, granted, that being said, we can talk about how voting rights should be right now in this country's history for a while, which is what we're going to do when we're talking about our next story. And it's going to be pretty much the last story of the day. And we might go back to the Tim Ryan article for a little bit, but we're going to talk about this stuff real quick for a minute now. So basically, you had these people who, I guess the Ohio Supreme Court was trending this morning. I don't actually, before I mention this, I don't know if I mentioned that railway strike is not happening anymore. I think I did mention that very early on. So, but yeah, you had these people that were bitching and moaning about stuff. And actually, before we get to that, I want to talk about this real quick. McDonald's CEO urged Chicago to fight crime. Our city is in crisis. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty sad and pathetic when you have to have a CEO of a giant fucking corporation come out and be like, bro, our city is in crisis because fucking Democrat policies and shit like that, basically, is what he fails to mention every time they're on that one. But yeah, so basically what you had was, you had a bunch of people who were moaning about the Ohio Supreme Court today because they're like, oh, this is how we stop gerrymandering, by flipping the court blue and shit like that. It's like, no, that's how you get a Republican supermajority to then impeach half the fucking courts, dude, which I've already talked to them about impeaching people at this point because of the shit. And the only reason that they haven't done it is because, like my state rep told me a few weeks ago when we talked, actually, I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, that we talked, time all runs ago at this point. But yeah, when we were talking the other day, he specifically said the only reason that they haven't impeached yet is because they don't have the votes to do so, because some people don't want to actually put their necks on the line, is what it is, dude. And as he straight up quoted as saying, if you're going to kill the king, you got to make sure the shot counts, because if it doesn't, you're going to be fucked, kind of thing, is what it is. He didn't put that part in there, I did. But yeah, but his quote was, it was like, you have to kill the king, and if you don't kill the king, all you're doing is giving fodder to the other side, I believe is how he put it to me. And he's right about that, because that's the thing. If they had, let's go ahead and say 40 people, 50 people, whatever, in the Republican Party here at a state level in our state house out of like 64, that would come together and be like, okay, we're going to impeach these people. And then you got like, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is, that refuse to actually get on board and be the supermajority and stuff like that. Then you're basically looking at stuff where now you have, with less than 50 days to go till the midterm elections, you have all these Democrats that are going to be using that shit for attack ads, and that's what it'll be, dude. So I think, truthfully, though, after midterms, I could see something happening where they legitimately decide, no, now is the time, we got to do this, like, let's do this shit, and they legitimately decide to, go for impeachment and stuff like that on these people and stuff. Because the thing, like I said, with Maureen O'Connor, to him, I should say, she herself is going to be out of office at the end of the year. It's going to either be Sharon Kennedy, who we actually want to be our new Chief Justice of the courts, versus Jennifer Brenner, who is a psychotic lunatic and actually came out recently and was saying some bullshit about like, oh, the Bruin decision was a fucking terrible thing and this and this and this. And it's like, how are you a fucking judge? How the fuck did you ever get barred in this fucking state, lady? Have you even read the Constitution? Because it doesn't fucking sound like it. from the rhetoric you're fucking spewing there, bitch. Because if you did, you'd understand that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, lady. Seriously. And you would actually go by a bunch of other court rulings in the past, like the Heller decision. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I heard something today about Heller beating DC's ass again on some stuff. So, but yeah, it's just ridiculousness, dude, is what it is. So, but yeah, we have, what was I going to say here? So you got this one idiot here, who I'm going to talk about right now. This is from people that were on the Twitter that I screen grabbed their stuff here because of how stupid their rhetoric is when it comes to flipping the courts and stuff like that. So you got this Gabe guy saying, vote for Jennifer Brenner, Terry Jameson, and Marian Zanos for Ohio Supreme Court. Court battles over abortion access and gerrymandering will all eventually end up before the Supreme Court in Ohio. That is why Pro-Choice Ohio is supporting Justice Jennifer Brenner for Chief Justice and Judge Terry Johnson and Judge Marian Zanos for the judges there. Yeah, fuck you, Pro-Choice Ohio, and fuck you, Gabe. And as I said to him, I said, no, we will not vote for genocidal maniacs for the Ohio Supreme Court. And that's the entire point, man. And then you had, I'll tell you what, going back to the 19th Amendment was at least a partial mistake, dude. Like, this is a great example of that, by the way. 19th and 26th, actually, both on that one, which I just put this as a fucking nut. So you had this fucking nut chick named Katie Paris who said, the constitutionality of Ohio's abortion ban will eventually be decided by the Ohio Supreme Court, which we have the opportunity to flip in November, or this November. Just one seat stands between Ohioans and reproductive freedom. To which my response to this crazy bitch was the following, which was, let me grab it up now quick. Yeah, with her stupidity there about Constitution protected right, as I put this as a no dumb bitch, I said, clearly you've never taken the time to ever read either the U.S. or Ohio constitutions. If you did, you'd see very quickly that both are the exact opposite of your statement. You have no legal right to permanently end human life. And that's the truth too, by the way. When you look at the stuff that's going on in this country right now, dude, these people are talking about ending human life permanently, refusing to actually admit that's what they're discussing, dude. And what's even more disgusting about it is that they'll sit there and go on these like mass ass tirades is what it is, dude, about different crazy shit is what it is. And then they'll be all like, oh, but I didn't mean this thing or whatever the case be. It's like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And what's even more disgusting about the whole thing is that they'll, basically sit there and be all like, no, kind of fucking like childish shit is what it is, dude. And it's like, yeah, that's what you meant, lady. That's exactly what you meant. And the thing is, when you look at the Constitution, specifically the U.S. Constitution, and also the Ohio Constitutions, there are, in the very early things, I think it's like Article 1, Section 1 or something like that, the Ohio Constitution, maybe it's Article 2, Article 1, Section 2. I know Article 1, Section 4 is what actually talks about our state constitution having the right to keep and bear arms is what it is in that. And the big thing was you have, what am I trying to say now? Yeah, you have, in some part of the Ohio Constitution early on, it specifically talks about life, liberty, happiness, and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with the U.S. Constitution. It talks about life, liberty, property. And you can't have liberty or property or anything like that, dude, without having human life is what it is, man. And that's what pisses me off about these people that want to sit there and call themselves pro-choice. And it's like, when you actually get down to the root causes of stuff, what it really is they are too fucking lazy to actually go out there and use protection, dude. So what they really want is, instead of having, safe, legal, and rare, meaning like, 1 in a fucking million, actually having to end human life, what they want is basically abortion on demand without consequence, as they've said many times. They want to shout their abortions. They want to sit there and fucking have a bunch of crazy ass rhetoric nonsense and be like, oh, but it's not a human life. It's a clump of fucking cells, like that one fucking psychotic lunatic Burger King worker who was trying to attack that kid a few years ago down in Columbus there. So, by the way, that chick was a fucking nut job. I can't believe she didn't fucking catch charges for that shit, dude. But then it was like a year later, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe like a year and a half later, I think, somewhere in there. I actually went down to Columbus to visit my sister who lives down there. And they were talking about that girl on the news, and it was her mom talking about it. And they were like, she's like, people are ridiculing my daughter, and oh, my daughter has some kind of like Asperger's or some bullshit like that. And it's like, well, maybe she shouldn't be left to her own devices then. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, you know? It's like, damn, lady, you know? And I'm just like, Jesus criminy, brother. Like, how the fuck are you gonna have like that kind of lunatic behavior be allowed to fucking run wild, man? Like, it really is. It's just fucking insanity, you know? And it's these people that don't actually want to see their own insanity up close and personal. But the problem is, it's not like it doesn't affect the rest of us, you know? And that's my biggest issue with all of it, dude. Is it's like, it would be one thing if that insanity was kept in check and, you know, dealt with accordingly by, you know, being in an institution or whatever the case be, but it's not. It's being allowed to run wild consistently across our country. And then you have these same fucking lunatics that are the ones running the asylums, you know? And then people are all like, oh shit, you know? And it's like, yeah, dude. And that's why we have such a fucked up country right now. It's just these psychotic ass nuts who, first of all, have voting rights when they shouldn't. And then secondly, who basically want to fuck around and be given a free pass for their own psychotic insanity is what it is. So, yeah, it's just a sad situation all the way around. And it bothers me a lot because what you end up having is the same abortionist types and stuff like that want to sit there and be, you know, oh, but I need to have this thing, or I should have this thing, or whatever the case be. And it's like, no, you should probably have a room at the local insane asylum right now. But of course, you know, people want to talk about that, but nobody actually wants to deal with it correctly. But, you know, it is what it is, man. And like I said, I'm just sick of it, honestly. I've had enough. I've had enough of it, dude. And you know, this shit needs to be called out. It needs to be called out on a regular basis. These people are off their damn rockers, dude, is what it is. And when you can actually, you know, get them the help that they need, clearly in a lot of cases, our country would be so much better off if that were the case. Unfortunately, you know, they don't want to get the help that they need to get. They refuse to get the help that they need to get. And then you end up with a bunch of insane people running the streets, is what it is. Attacking innocent people in the streets, attacking, you know, businesses, trying to assault American citizens, trying to beat people's heads in and stuff like that, etc. And yeah, it's not okay, man. It really isn't. And it's pretty disgusting when you see what has come over this country in the past 15 years or so, give or take, maybe not even that long. You know, I was watching a video the other day of or a video clip the other day of Savannah Hernandez, where she was discussing stuff about all these different people and their crazy, you know, ideology and shit like that. And they were talking about 9/11 specifically, and how, you know, the country is still so divided or whatever because of 9/11 and shit. And yet none of these people want to admit that in a lot of cases they are the problem, dude. And it's these people that are under 21 or under 25 or whatever that have continuously, you know, gone on these crazy ass fucking tirades and everything else like that over the years. And they're the ones that, you know, I remember I was a few years ago, I was talking with one of my neighbors at the time because she was a school teacher. And this was, I believe, it was either 2018 or 2019 when we were discussing this. And I was mentioning something about, oh, yeah, you know, 9/11 anniversary and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, it was interesting. And then she was telling me a story about how a bunch of kids in her classroom were snickering about 9/11 during a moment of silence. And I'm just like, what? And she's like, yeah. They were just like laughing about the shit, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. And yeah, it's beyond disrespectful is what it is, man. You're talking about people who had their lives ended in this nation, almost 3,000 of them that day, and thousands since then from all the debris and everything. That's what's even more fucked up. You had, I forget who it was like the health minister or something like that at the time in New York City, or maybe it was New York State or something, who came out the day, like a day or two after 9/11, so this would have been like 9/12, 9/13, something like that, and was talking about some stuff, and then they were discussing like, oh yeah, all those ash clouds that came down with the Twin Towers and stuff like that. Oh no, that's fine. You can breathe that shit in. And it's like, are you fucking nuts? And they were telling people to go back down to the business district and go back to work, basically. And it's like, what? So it's fucking nuts, dude. It's people that are just insane. They just don't get it, you know? They really don't. And these are the same crazy fuckers that want to sit there and basically, control the rest of us is what it is, man. And I don't know about the rest of y'all. I don't like being controlled, man. Like, if somebody tells me to do something, I'm most likely going to do the opposite of that, man. So, and I think that's for most Americans, honestly. That's our defiant nature, is what it is, dude. As, free people is what it is. So, but yeah, so I called that leftist chick out about her insanity there, and I was talking about how she clearly didn't read either constitutions, either the state or the federal one. And that's the problem with most of these people, dude, is that most of them, they'll be indoctrinated throughout school, throughout, the 12 years they go to high school or, elementary to high school and stuff like that. And then they'll go to college for another, 4 years or something. And they'll get even more indoctrinated in the colleges is what it is now. And then they want to sit there and be all like, oh, but this thing is this thing is this thing. And it's like, no, that's actually not how it is. Like, you are totally wrong about that. And yet they'll sit there and then double down and triple down on their stupidity is what it is. And then want to sit there and basically, kind of fight you when you call them out on their crap is what it is, dude. So it's really sad. It really is, man. And the saddest part is, when you have these people that will continuously do just the most insane crap possible and not be called out for it. And then when you do call them out for it, they'll be like, no, but that's not what I was actually saying. And it's like, yes, it was. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, you were clearly talking about some crazy, crazy shit there. Like, you were clearly you were clearly going down that road, man. And that's what it is. And then when they finally get, confronted for their insanity, they're just like, no, that was totally your side or whatever, dude. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Like, that was totally on all y'all, man. So, anyway, I don't know anymore. I think like I said before, I think we're heading for dark times no matter what, dude. And the longer that we keep, dealing with just the insanity of this country and just all the insane shit that we're seeing continuously going on, it's going to get worse and worse before it ever gets better. And I pray that this country can survive it. I don't know. I don't know if it will or not. I know we have the ability right now to where if worse comes to worse, we can overcome, right? We can actually come together as one and be a better country as a whole. Better angels, if you will. And the thing is, I think you're seeing, there are times where you will see like the best of humanity and you'll see the worst of humanity. Unfortunately, now we seem to be seeing the worst of humanity a lot more lately. And then when you have, conversations about like, okay, what actually causes these things? And, people are just like, oh, it's like one particular thing or whatever the case be. Like last night when I was on that AK guy's channel for a little bit there on his panel, and then basically left because I felt like I was being personally attacked is what it was over some stuff that either got misinterpreted or, maybe I said it wrong. I don't know. Maybe they took it wrong. I don't have no idea, man. But anyway, the entire point was that I was trying to make was you have people who will continuously, do crazy shit or whatever. And, for me personally, like I've said, I'm pretty sure that the guys that robbed my house and probably took my catalytic converter the month before that and stuff like that, 2 different crimes in a, roughly 30-day time span, they were most likely white dudes. And who's to say if they were, meth heads or drugs were an issue or anything for that matter, or if it was just criminals, if it was just potentially white criminals is what it was. And then his whole thing was basically about like, oh, but there's a different thing here, whatever. The whole point I was trying to make was, someone who was like the fact that my uncle lives in Maine, the fact that I went up there to visit him years ago is what it was. Is that yeah, it's a lot less densely populated outside of like the one major city they have. There's what it is. And not only that, but then you think about where Maine sits, man, you'll have something like 4 months or so, maybe 5 months even, of various snowstorms that go up there, dude. And maybe that's why it has less crime. Maybe that's why it has less murder, honestly, is because of the fact that you have nobody being able to get out of their fucking houses for days at a time and stuff to do anything, because that was the one thing. He was looking at the gun memorial there, and it was like 8 people that were killed there, I guess, this year or something like that. And it's like, that being said, it is also very white and stuff. So, and then he basically tried to phrase it as if I was trying to say, oh, it's black people live on top of each other in like places and shit like that. And essentially, like, this is the thing, he put a bunch of words in my mouth that I'd never said, by the way. Like, he was talking about like, oh, you're trying to say like we all live in Section 8 or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not, dude. I'm not saying that at all. Like, what I'm saying is, having lived in a like, and I didn't get a chance to say this at the time because again, my mind wasn't really thinking. I was kind of distracted by gaming at the time as well. And my whole point was, though, it's like, no, what I'm trying to say is, having lived in a major city myself years ago, I can attest to the fact that you do live on top of each other in apartment buildings and shit, dude. And that's my personal fucking, firsthand knowledge of that shit, honestly. And by the way, it wasn't until I lived in a major city that I was fucking robbed for the first time. So it's like, again, mind you, these are all Democrat fucking shitholes, Democrat hell pockets of these major cities. And it's like, yeah, and people wonder like why I'm talking about that kind of stuff. That's fucking why, dude, because I've seen it firsthand, because I've experienced it firsthand. Like, my personal experience is why I will never live in a major city again, honestly, because there's no reason to. I love living out here in the rural areas. Now, granted, again, then you have fucking adjacency to my place, which is pretty close to Canton, Ohio here. And yeah, it's the spillover from that fucking, little minor city is what it is, dude. That brought up the property crime and stuff like that. And I will, I'll agree with what AK was saying though about different stuff there, Ock, or however to pronounce the guy's name, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll agree with what he was saying though, which is, there is a difference between like, somebody stealing, because obviously I hadn't mentioned this last night, but he mentioned the catalytic converter thing, so I don't know if I had mentioned that the first time I was on his panel or not, but yeah, he's like, yeah, there's a difference between a catalytic converter theft or whatever the case be, and like somebody, doing a drive by your house at 3 a.m. and then coming back to 4 a.m. to finish a job or whatever the case be. And it's like, the thing is though, yeah, that is like apples and oranges kind of thing or whatever the case be. They're still both fruits and all that stuff. And it's still crimes of both natures and stuff like that. But again, one's more violent crime than the other is. That being said, on the same vein of things, who's to say that, somebody stealing a catalytic converter, if they're caught or whatever the case be, isn't going to turn into a deadly force encounter? And that's the entire point that I was trying to mention in that 4-hour stream last night, actually. And I feel like that's what people don't get is what it is, man. Like, yeah, there's a difference between certain things or whatever, but like, in the same vein of things, that doesn't mean that something can't also turn deadly quickly is what it is, man. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They don't want to actually, confront that nature, I guess is what it would be. It's the best way to describe it right now. To actually having it be something where, how am I trying to say this now? They don't want to see two sides of the story to it is what it is, dude. They just want to see their side and basically get, I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to say echo chamber here, but basically it's like bias. That's what it is. They want to basically have their controlled bias or whatever, and then get, reassured about their bias towards something already is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and argue that, when it comes to minority neighborhoods or whatever the case be, that they're not going to be more violent and stuff like that, dude, or it's not going to be something where, you introduce like certain, classes or races or whatever into the mix that is not going to create more violence and stuff like that. Cause I believe it truthfully will, honestly. And the thing is, though, from what I've seen personally here in this state, honestly, it's not only the fucking like it's not it's like because the thing is the way that Ock guy likes to talk about it is if it's like, one particular race, like a black race or whatever the case be, that's doing so much of this shit. The thing is, though, you could basically say offshoots as well when it comes like Somalis and stuff like that as well on that one, dude. But also, I've seen a lot of fucking criminality and all kinds of crazy shit from people that follow Islam and stuff like that and are Arabic uh and whatnot, as well as, for that matter, how many different illegals are coming over our border every day and all the shit they're doing here. I mean, hell, we didn't like nobody knew that there was a fucking 10-year-old girl raped in the state of Ohio until we found out it was some illegal alien from like fucking El Salvador that did the rape when she was like 9 years old, dude. And it's because you have people covering that shit up, dude. And what's even more disgusting about that particular story is you had this fucking little girl's mother covering that shit up because the guy was the fucking boyfriend of her. And it's like, what in the hell is fucking wrong with people, dude? Like, who covers up a child rape, dude, because the dude you're banging happens to be the child rapist in that situation? Like, that's somebody with some serious fucking issues right there, dude. And it just like it's shocking is what it is. And you're basically just sitting there in awe and you're like, what the fuck, man? And that's what it is most of the time, dude. It's a situation of like, it's unbelievable, it seriously is. It's like, oh my God, what the hell? And it's because it's not something that you're going to sit there and be like, oh, like this is going to be a normal thing or whatever. It's like, no, because it's not a normal thing, dude. And that's what's fucked up about it all, And then people want to try to sit there and normalize it and shit. And it's like, except that's not normal, man. Like that's never been normal. That's sickening. It's disgusting, dude. And yeah, it just, I don't even know, man. Like I said, it's one of those situations where it's like, you see shit happen and you're just like in awe, I guess is the best way to say it, where you're just like, I can't believe that just happened kind of thing or whatever. And I think that's why you had a lot of Republican lawmakers here in the state of Ohio who were like, yeah, this is BS or whatever, because to them it's like there was no criminal reports about it. There was no nothing, dude. And then all of a sudden it came out that, oh yeah, it actually is legit or whatever the case be. And they're like, well, fuck, I guess it is then. And the thing is, up to that point though, like they had no, reason to suspect that it was a real thing or whatever the case be, because there was no actual reporting of the shit, dude. So it really is sad and sickening at the same time, dude. And what's even more disgusting, like I said, now you've had this woman that claims to be the child's mother or guardian or whatever double down on the shit and was like, no, but this dude's totally such a good man, and and it's like, no, he's not. He literally molested your kid. The hell's the matter with you, lady? So, yeah, it just, it's infuriating to no end, is the best way to say it, man. And that's why in some cases, I believe that there is a solution to an issue. The thing is, I believe there's a lot of solutions to a lot of issues actually. But my thing is, it's like, are people going to implement those solutions? Are they going to, have law and order? Are we going to maintain something? You know what I'm saying? Because if not, like, what the hell are we doing as a country? You know? And I think, unfortunately, the more and more that we head down the pathway towards disaster, towards destruction, it's just going to get worse and worse. And I don't know, man. Like, I think we're heading for dark times for sure in this country, and I don't like the way that we're going. And I think it's sad that we can't even have a real discussion about, race or racial issues or whatever the case be without it becoming like a whole thing of like, oh, but you're wrong about this because this, and this kind of reason or whatever. And it's like, no, it's because I see things not totally black and white is what it is, dude. Like, there's definitely other factors in a lot of these cases. And the fact that you don't want to see that, like, shows everything really. Speaks volumes, So, I don't know. I think we're definitely in for some bad stuff when when this country finally has its rattle, I guess is the best way to describe it right now. And when I say rattle, I mean that from a perspective of the fact that we're going to head towards a, sort of death rattle, if you will, um, very soon in this nation when it comes to certain things. And I think when that happens, it's going to be a real bad day for a lot of people, honestly. And I hate to say that, but I think it's going to be you're going to see people, and I've said this before, dude. You're going to see people do things that they wouldn't think they were capable of, and I think you're going to see a lot of women specifically step up and go full alpha female on some fucking crazy sons of bitches. Is what it'll be, dude. And a lot of them will be to protect their own kids and stuff. Is what it'll be. And then you'll have some other people who maybe won't go down that road because they don't have anything to live for and love and stuff. And then you'll have another group of people that will like basically use that whole thing as a way to do the sickening stuff they want to continue to do right now, dude. And because there's no, law and order and stuff like that, I think they can get away with it or whatever the case be. And it's basically going to be people taking justice in their own hands at that point then. And my thing is, if we get down that far and down the rabbit hole and stuff, dude, like, there's going to be a lot of people in for a rude awakening when this country finally, kicks something off again. It'll be like a lot of those insurrection acts of the past times like a million, basically, is the way I look at it right now, dude. And you're going to have a lot of people do a lot of stuff that they did not think they were capable of. And when they finally, realize they were capable of it the whole time, I think they're going to scare themselves in a lot of cases. And I think there's also the fact that you have so many who want to sit there and act like, this country is so racist or so whatever. And in reality, they're the ones that tend to be perpetrating a lot of that stuff. Like, they're the ones that are always, calling for racial shit or whatever the case be, or, in that idiot Hank Johnson's case, literally fucking off and stuff like that. And basically just being a complete moron is what it is. Or like that idiot Tim Ryan, who's literally calling for political violence against the right at this point, and then being like, no, I was talking about the January 6th people. It's like, okay, then why didn't you say that to begin with, you fucking clown? Oh, because you're a lying sack of shit. That's why, motherfucker. And like I said, this is a call to the General Assembly of Ohio right now. I don't know if they have the power to do this or not. They should. And I demand that they kick Tim Ryan off the fucking ballot right now for the U.S. Senate race, dude. And any other ballot for that matter at all, dude. This dude should not be allowed to be holding office ever again. And it's time for him to be removed from the Senate race entirely. Because the shit that he's pulled in the last couple of days now, dude, there is absolutely no need for that. Number one. Number two, it's time for him to, realize that there are consequences for his bullshit actions, is what it is, dude. And it's time to demand that this motherfucker be kicked out of office, period. And it's as simple as that, really, at the end of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all in the next one.